Hello and welcome. My name is Clay. Thank you for tuning in. 2020 is just about here, which means that it's a perfect opportunity to look back on the past decade and see what happened. So in this episode, we're going to discuss the top 5 Chicago Blackhawks trades of the decade. Let's go. A little note before we start here, this list is based on my own observations and opinions, so do not treat it as gospel. If you agree with it, disagree with it, think I missed something, whatever it may be, please share your thoughts down in the comments section below. And with that said, let's begin. Starting this list off, the 5th best trade of the decade for the Chicago Blackhawks happened pretty recently. January 24th, 2019, Chicago Blackhawks trading a 2019 5th round draft pick to the Los Angeles Kings in exchange for Dominic Kuba. Well, his rights actually. Now, he got drafted by the Kings but made it known he wasn't going to sign with them, so Blackhawks swooped in, made this trade, got him to sign. Now, any team could have done this, but the Blackhawks were able to get it done, and it only cost them a 5th round draft pick, and they get a guy who stepped into the NHL right away, right now is playing top line minutes, and is looking like he'll probably be a 20-goal scorer. We're talking about a 5th round draft pick that the likelihood of that draft pick even making to the NHL is pretty slim. You trade that for a guy who's in the NHL right away, I mean, that's a no-brainer. That is a heck of a deal. Blackhawks swoop in, get this trade done. That's why it's on this list. Next up on this list, the 4th best trade of the decade for the Chicago Blackhawks happened on June 23rd, 2017. That's a day that a lot of Blackhawks fans want to forget because it involved trades that had some beloved players on them. This being one of them, Blackhawks trading Nicholas Hjalmarsson to Arizona in exchange for Connor Murphy and Laurent Dauphin. Now, Dauphin got traded back to Arizona in a later trade, so this was basically Hjalmarsson for Murphy. Now, Hjalmarsson, being the beloved player that he was, part of 3 cup runs, nobody wanted to see him go, especially me. I love Hjalmarsson. I have his jersey up there. I mean, you're trading him for a guy like Murphy, a young defenseman. That's a tough sell, but over time it's turned out to really work quite well. Hjalmarsson has been injured pretty much ever since. I mean, the style he played is rough on the body, and he's getting up there in age. Murphy, younger, had more years on his contract still, so the Blackhawks had cap control with this trade as well. That was a big thing too, but Murphy has turned out to be a solid defender as well. Maybe not nearly as good as Hjalmarsson was in his prime, but when you're trading a guy like Hjalmarsson late in his career for basically someone to try and fill those shoes and has done so pretty decently, I think that's quite the win. Number 3, the 3rd best trade of the decade for the Chicago Blackhawks happened on June 24th, 2016. Blackhawks trading Andrew Shaw to the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for 2 2016 2nd round draft picks. And I know, Andrew Shaw, beloved, part of 2 cup runs, but the Blackhawks able to shed $4 million or nearly $4 million worth of cap space. Opens that up, and not only that, but one of those 2nd round draft picks they pick Alex DeBrincat with, who has turned into a 40-goal scorer in the NHL. I mean, Andrew Shaw, I'm sorry, but this was a great trade. Number 2, the 2nd best trade of the decade for the Chicago Blackhawks happened on February 28th, 2015, a trade deadline deal. And it's tough to really say that trade deadline deals are best deals of the decade, because when you are trading at the trade deadline, it is a seller's market, and when you are buying like the Blackhawks were in this case, you're going to overpay. But Blackhawks found out that it was worth it. Blackhawks trading Klaus Dalvik and a 2015 1st round draft pick to the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for Antoine Vermette, and this was a huge pickup for the Hawks in their cup run that year. Antoine Vermette scored a couple game-winning goals, but most importantly added another piece down the middle besides Jonathan Toews, who could win draws, and that was probably the biggest reason that the Hawks ended up winning that cup that year. Huge trade for the Hawks. Yeah, maybe a little bit of an overpayment, but it was worth it. And finally, the best trade of the decade for the Chicago Blackhawks happened on February 27, 2012. Another trade deadline deal. Once again, these can really backfire on you if you're not careful. Plus, they're usually rentals, but this one paid off years down the road. Blackhawks trading a 2013 second round draft pick and a 2013 third round draft pick to the Jets in exchange for Johnny Oduya, and Oduya was a huge part of the blue line for both the 2013 and 2015 Stanley Cup runs. The Blackhawks, in my opinion, do not win those cups without him there. And you get that on a trade deadline the year before that 2013 Cup run. Are you kidding me? That's a heck of a trade. Best trade of the decade, in my opinion. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 trades of the decade for the Chicago Blackhawks. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate that as always, but most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.